Hey y'all, welcome to today's world building session. I am your girl, Stacy N. Simpson, also Luna_Soul_author, previously on Instagram, but I still go by Luna Soul Author. So thank you for joining me today. Today we are going over a world building session to create a short story or a novel if you choose. So we're just going to be diving into some world building questions and going over world building. And then day 2, we will be creating our paintings of our story, which would also be the setting or the backdrop towards our story, which we'll also be using it. I know I will be, but you can too if you would like, and I hope you do. Background of your painting in your story. Yeah, let's get right into it, guys. Hi guys, welcome to our class session today, where we'll be talking about world building and everything to do with world building. So fun, so exciting. Are you as excited as I am? Because I know. So let's get into it. So what is world building? World building is the process of constructing an imaginary world or setting. Developing your world would include the history, the geography, the ecology, and things like that. So that is key when it comes to science fiction or fantasy, whatever story you may be writing. So things to include in your world building. That would include, what does your characters or the people in your story wear? What is the weather? Is it rainy? Is it like London, we'll say, where it's really rainy or really gloomy, or a lot like here in Canada now, where it's a lot of days are gloomy, or it can be like 4 or 5 different weathers throughout the day. It could be winter, it could be summer, it could be spring, it could be the whole 9 for just one day. But yeah, what is the weather? Focus on that. As well as, what do people eat? What kind of legal system or government? Those are some things you might want to include in your story. Again, just to reiterate, include the geography and the environment, government, whether there's politics involved, economy and trade, daily life and customs, as well as religion, which is a big one. Is there religion? And there are people atheists, like different types of religion, Christian, whatever you choose to include in your story. The belief system will also go along with the religion as well. History and lore, language and communication, the technology and magic. So I'm just reading here from some of my notes. So as well, you want your world to tell a story and not give it away. So you are actually writing out word for word, and just, like, basically describing the whole 9. So take, for instance, these worlds that come to mind. Avatar. Our Avatar is it's one that comes to mind, right? Like when you think of Avatar, you already know what comes to mind. The last one that I watched, and haven't got to watch the latest one, but the last one I watched was The Way of the Water. So that also did kind of include like colors like these. I don't really exactly remember the full story of The Way of the Water, but it was a very beautiful film. And I did happen to watch it in the movie theater. It was very great. If you haven't watched it yet, you should. I haven't watched the last one, so I should, and I will eventually watch the last Avatar. So yeah, there's Avatar. So whatever comes to mind when you think of Avatar, you can actually go watch those films just to give you like some inspiration. So Avatar, Harry Potter, you know what comes to mind. They have a lot of magic. I don't want to say I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but I haven't really dive deep into the Harry Potter theme and world, but I do know a little bit about the Harry Potter world. Okay. And Star Wars, which it wasn't my favorite, but I know I need to, people said there's some things that a lot have to do with things of the way they are now, so I have to go back and watch it as an adult. Because back in the day where I kind of watched skims and pieces of the Star Wars with my brother, it didn't really appeal to me. So now I have to go back to it and sit down and just dive into it piece by piece and really see the story. So there's Star Wars, whatever comes to mind. I think of space and things that have to do with Star Wars. You might know it better than I do. And of course, Hunger Games, which is one of my faves, actually, which has a lot to do with the way the world is today. It's actually really crazy. But yeah, Hunger Games, when you think of that, what do you think of when it comes to that? So maybe you can sit down and watch some of those movies, and that will help you in creating your story of when it comes to world building. I'll go and sit down and watch Star Wars just because I want to see and I want to understand some of the things that's going on in that particular movie, along with world building. Write down, and that's another thing, when you're watching these, you want to probably take a few notes so it can help you with what you're says. So we're going to dive into one. There's either real world fantasy, and two, second world fantasy. One, the real world fantasy here is where you set your story in a world where we live in, like our worlds. So you set your story in a world of real life, but your plot is either going to be based on a real life event as an outlander. So I remember the guy, I think he worked at a pizza store or something, and he quit his job, and then he told everyone about what was going on. His name was Mario or Luigi. Luigi was his name. I'm gonna put the link here of the person who I'm talking about. Luigi, he was somebody that was, I don't even know what happened to the story. Like, it just came and it just went, and I don't even think they found out what about the story. But this person was saying a lot of the stuff that these hired people were doing. So I want to kind of think of that person as that outlander that was like outing everything about the workplace that he was at and the stuff that people are doing. I just want you to think about that person. That's the person that came to mind when I thought about that. So again, the real world fantasy is where you set your story in the world we live in, but your plot is either based on real life event as an outlander, or where historical events are different or occur differently than how they have played out. They might occur differently in your story. So the second world fantasy, we will create new lands, species, government, create a world rich in its own historical geography and purpose. Chronicles of Narnia, that one was pretty cool. I've actually had a chance to watch that. And Alice in Wonderland, depending on which you actually watch. I've actually really liked the Alice in Wonderland on Amazon Prime. So step one, we're going to be planning out our story. So there's two ways or two types of people that like to write the way they write. We classify them as outliners, which are those that prefer to map out everything before they start writing, which can be good sometimes. It just depends. If it gets really chaotic, maybe that works for you. Or pantsers, which are those that write by the seat of their pants, so to say, as in discovery. So they write as they go along. As they go along, they figure out what they're trying to do. They don't just plan it out all on paper, because that even takes a lot of time sometimes too. But sometimes you can either choose either or, do both. Whatever works for you, works for you. Okay. So for me, I know a lot of the times I write as I go. For my Luna Storm, The Risings of the Supernatural, which I'm currently writing, I actually sat down and wrote. Do I have that here? I actually sat down and wrote some of what I wanted to cover in my story. That's what I've done. I wrote down some of the things that I wanted to add in my story. So I will be including as a pantser and a planner, I guess, or outliner here and there, switch it up. So I wrote down some things that I wanted to include, but I'm also writing and figuring out the story as I go along. So as I do that, I'm going to include some of the parts that I've already planned out inside of that, just because I wanted to go along with the supernatural, everything that's going on, and the things that I wanted to include in the story to make it as great as it possibly could be. Step 2, so you're going to want to describe your world. You're going to want to get into the nitty gritty and describe your world. So you're going to determine the type of book you're going to, whether it's fantasy, sci-fi, you're going to figure out your genre. So get clear about what your world is going to smell like, what it's going to sound like, and the surroundings. Okay, think about that. In doing so, you want to show and not tell. These are some questions you might also want to include. Does your world include a new language? Are they speaking English? Are they speaking French? Is it a new other language? Come up with something. Get creative. Strange creatures. Are there strange creatures in your story, like gargoyles or some weird snake dragon thing? Get creative about that too. I don't know if you like writing stories about creatures. How about the clothing? You might want to include what types of clothing they're wearing. Like, are they wearing like medieval clothing? Are they wearing armor? Like, what is the type of clothing? Like, we want to say, for instance, Hunger Games, the type of clothing they wore. What type of clothing are your people wearing in your world? Build on that to give you the momentum that you need to create a short story. Now it's up to you whether you're creating a short story or a novel. I'm leaning more towards a short story. So also you want to consider the climate, which is the weather. How cold is it? Is it Iceland? Is it like everything made out of ice? You know, is everything underwater? Is it underground? Is it in a cave? Things like that. Resources, you're going to want to include food, things like that. The environment, how does it look? Describe that in detail in your book. Don't give away your whole story, but write down how the world is. Be very descriptive. All right, and the third one for things to consider was to also include the geography. Like, which place is it? Where is it located? Is it in space, as I mentioned, underground, on land, north, east, west, south, things like that, which you might want to include in your story if you want to get really descriptive. You go as far as including a map, like in the story, Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Just for the fun of it, you can create a map. I mean, that's pretty cool, and I would love to do something like that. So if you have the time to do that, why not? So questions to help build your world would also be, was the world always the way it is now? Like, say for instance today, was the world how it always was before? Which is obviously not. Before COVID, a lot of things were different. Some good, some bad, right? If not, how was the world like before, and what caused the change? So if COVID didn't happen, like just say for example, like how would the world have been those past 5 years that just say COVID actually didn't really happen? So I know a lot of people got into new types of things that they weren't into before. So just different things that people have got to do since COVID. A lot of businesses have shut down. So different stories that you might want to include, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to get to. And also you want to include what caused the change, right? I don't know, the world went into, everyone had to go underground. Like, what caused that change? What happened? Why we had to go around? Was there a virus? Just like I'm always trying to remember the movie with Will Smith. Oh, I think I Am Legend. Yeah, that's what it's called. Where a lot of people had to hide out and stuff and kind of go underground slightly. Like, what caused the change where everyone had died and he was like one of the only few people that were living? Or even like I Am Robot, where all the robots took over. What caused the change in that, even though a lot of things in that movie are kind of starting to come to play here today. So things like that, you might want to include your story. What caused that change? What is the weather like, and does it impact your story? How was the weather, let's say in I Am Legend? It was kind of gloomy. Did it impact anything? No, didn't really have anything to do with much. But for your story, we'll say if there's like some weather tornado storm thing happening in your story or in your world, how was the weather? You want to include that. If that has anything to do with your story, you want to include that as well. Where are the borders? Where are the borders? Like, you know, from Hamilton to Toronto, Brampton, next city over, Oakville, Sudbury, Windsor. You want to include like the borders. Can people get through the borders through this crisis? Or if you're writing about a crisis, the world coming to an end or something like that, you want to also include borders. If people can get through the borders, are they closed down? Are they open? Are people smashing down the place? Like things like that. Also, now, how many oceans, deserts, mountains, forests? You might want to include that in your story if you are writing anything to do with these places or these settings.